What's up YouTube? Welcome to Smite Trash or Pass, where we take non-meta builds and see how they do. Runeforged Arachne is the first build we're trying. Let's see how it goes. To start this off, we need to know why we're trying Runeforged Arachne. It's inspired by an old Scotty build from Season 6 that incorporated Shifter Shield in both Runeforged and Frostbound Hammer. It was a meme build that the pros tried out, but it proved to be effective. So let's see how this build fares in Season 8. The thought process behind this build is that Runeforged will give us a nice power spike in the early game, where we see little protections or synergize with their webs that slow for up to 7 or 8 seconds. The reason that we're starting with Runeforged and not Shifter is that we want the focus on the build to be the 20% damage increase. Is there any way to abuse that? This also synergizes with her passive as she winds up more and more basic attack power as the enemy health decreases. We can pick up more synergies by picking up items that make us extremely tanky with all the extra health, or do more damage by stacking slows. In case you don't know, Runeforged Hammer makes enemies take 20% increased damage from all of your sources if they're affected by a crowd control effect. It does not include knockbacks, blinds, or grabs. However, any crowd control that your team can inflict on the enemy will increase your damage by 20%. In general team comps, this is going to make you deal 20% more damage in most cases. When we're thinking of synergies, the first one that comes to mind is Frostbound Hammer. What it does is it makes enemies hit by your basic attacks slower, so this increases your damage by 20% as long as you're landing an attack every 1.25 seconds. Speaking of slows, Poison Star also slows on critical hits. This isn't going to be as consistent as Frostbound Hammer, however if you're going for a higher damage output, you can slow them and deal additional crits. This stacks with items such as Deathbringer as well, where we can further increase our crit damage by another 30%. This even stacks with other on-hit effect items such as Kin Size, where you'll deal 3% to the target's maximum health, plus a 20% on the Kin Size damage, and then 20% on your basic attack damage. Or we can go a different route and we could try to be tankier. We could build Shifter Shield. This is going to be not only 60 physical power to help with kill potential, but it'll also give us 65 physical protections and 40 magic protections when we're under 75% HP. This is going to synergize really well with the health that we're getting from the Runeforged Hammer, so we're not going to lose out on a whole bunch of kill potential, but we're going to be a whole lot tankier. Or we can get really wild and build something like Lono's Mask. This is going to reduce the damage that we take by 20%, but it's also going to reduce the damage that we deal by 20%. This should negate with the Runeforged Hammer, meaning that you're going to take 20% less damage, but you're going to still dish out 100% of your regular damage. That's only assuming that the enemy is under a crowd control effect. Now that we're done talking about synergies and items, we can talk about how the build performs. Now, Arachne's early game is nothing to scoff at. She can get kills really easily with the amount of damage that she does whenever you utilize her 1 with her passives, just constantly decreasing the enemy's health and increasing your damage. Now, this build doesn't come online as fast as a Haste and Katana build, where you can't chase down kills as easily, but you're supposed to be picking your engages a little more carefully, and I still didn't have any problems getting some early game kills and being aggressive. If anything, maybe the HP helped me a little bit because I could take a couple extra tower shots, but in the footage you might see that maybe I'm taking a couple too many tower shots. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment down below with any gods you'd like to see and what build you'd like to see. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking maybe I can do some Jungle Athena with a Ranga's Mask. That's going to give us 20% more damage, but it's going to make us take 20% more damage. Now that she has all damaging abilities with her taunt damaging and a slow, I think she might be a top contender in the jungle. Make sure you stick to the end to see if we give this build a trash or a pass. I'd like to expand on how the build performs a little more. So just to provide context and commentary over the clips that we're watching, as you can see in this clip, I killed that Anubis and I'm killing the Zonkui relatively easy. Now I do get punished by the Gilgamesh. That's because I popped my beads too early, and I also didn't get my Aegis off in time. I also wanted to exemplify kind of some of the tankiness of the builds. We're looking at me fighting a Spallona going one-on-one. Hits me with the disarm, I'm just taking punishment from her and just not really caring. And I think that's parts of where this build shines. Like, I think I win that fight regardless of if Athena's there. When Athena got there, I felt a little more comfortable. I didn't feel the need to pop my 1, but my 2 was also coming up, her stun. So I felt pretty safe about that engage overall. And right here, I mean, this just again talks about how you can deal pretty decent damage. Like Kukulkan does a lot of damage there. The ult for the dodging of the Jingwei's abilities is really useful, helps kind of get you out of there. They're still trying to switch priority on target, plus you can jump down on the Jingwei and kill them. I do overcommit a couple times in these fights, so I mean, it's really easy to overcommit. Whenever you don't have communication with your teammate or teammates, you don't know where everyone's going to be at in a team fight. So like right there, it was 3v5 essentially, and we just kind of backed off after everyone was coming down mid. This is another example of how you're spooling up that basic, because it doesn't trigger just off gods, it triggers off of any target that you're attacking. So you kind of start getting that Pyromancer low, you do more damage, and because you're getting him low, you're dealing more damage. So it's just kind of a cyclical effect. You kind of wind up. Here we're fighting a Gilgamesh and Athena rotates to help, and it's just another example of how tanky you are. In this clip, I actually die. We overcommit on this. He jumps out, and I should have backed off at that point. I should not have ulted. But I'm like, he's dead. Whatever, right? Somehow he hits the minions, misses me completely. Now I get punished by this Anubis ult because I'm just so slow, because the Zonkui has a gem of isolation, or the slowing gem. I think that might be correct. Right here, just another team fight. We end up losing this game because we never really truly grouped, and it was just kind of a bunch of miscommunication, unfortunately. They had really good priorities on who they're targeting. I end up backing off of this, and the Apollo and the Athena die, but I'm able to pull this Spallona pretty far away because she's really thirsty for this kill. I get about right here, and then she starts circling back. Unfortunately, the Athena's out. She just leaves the Apollo, and Apollo's fighting 3v1. Apollo dies. I'm like, alright, it's time to take my leave. We're getting kind of to the conclusion of this game. We just had a couple things go wrong. Like right here, we have 3 people down. I mean, essentially have 2 tanks left alive. Now, I don't think the build has any reasons as to why we lost this game in particular. I think we're just not really playing well as a team, unfortunately. So, I mean, you can see, like, I can just trade all day with their warriors, and just no big deal. And then right here, I thought it'd be kind of cheeky if I could steal the Primal Fury. I'm taking just a bunch of punishment. I would get disarmed, I get hit by Zonkui's slow and his stun. I just take all of that damage, absorb all that damage, and get out. So right here, we're closing on kind of the final push. I wasn't able to punish the Jingwei. I thought maybe I could kill her fast enough, but I wasn't able to. And right here, I accidentally popped my Aegis instead of my beads because I noticed he was slowing me. I continued to not pop my beads. I didn't think it was a big deal. We end up killing the Zonkui. Then we see that Gilgamesh is over in that left Phoenix. I want to go support the Kukulkan, but unfortunately what happens there is that we get punished, and we end up losing. I don't die at the very end, but I just kind of watch the Titan die. So we start this new game on me fighting this Zonqui. I wanted to skip to a little later in the build just to kind of show. Right here we're doing Runeforged, Frostbound, and Lonos Mask. You can see just we're fighting 4v2 right now, taking a bunch of punishment. I see them getting about half health, and I'm like, ooh, I need to start backing up. I get hit by that raw ult. I'm going panic mode. Unfortunately, I used my ult to engage, and right there, I ended up dying. So right here, I'm just providing vision for my team. Athena notices, and she comes on me. She ends up killing the Zonqui, which is really nice. I can get this ultimate down on this raw, but unfortunately, I missed. I whiffed the ult. And then I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna target down this Thor instead because I don't want to be flanked too hard. I noticed there's 2 people approaching from Gold Fury side. And I just start chasing him down. He unfortunately has a blink, so I just scurry off into their jungle. I call that a W because we ended up getting 3 kills and it cost us 0. Pretty good trade all in all. And then right here, kind of positioning for Fire Giant. I didn't know what the team wanted to do. I thought maybe we can get Fire Giant, because generally that's kind of how these games work, is we try to get a couple people down, get Fire Giant, and then we start for the mid push. So right here, I'm just looking to kind of support my team, go around the back, get a gank in. And we get that mid tower, and I'm here to kind of close the gap on this Zonqui if I can. And then I see the Anher gets punished. I'm like, all right, we can kill this. Then Aphrodite links us together and she starts healing me. Once I have the heals, I'm starting to feel a little confident because of how much she healed me. Kind of overestimating my tankiness. Took like 3 tower shots there, a bunch of abilities, ended up dying. Right here, I was looking to put some deep wards in. I just warded Fire Giant. I was gonna try to ward back like on their white camps just to kind of get vision, and I was just like, this Loki is tanky, but he can't get away. I'm just hitting him with my Frostbound. I'm not taking any damage from the towers, and I'm just like, all right, cool. So we get the Loki down, and then we're immediately starting to rotate towards the team fight, so maybe we can start to close this out. We see this Chernobog is just absolutely popping off right now. We're still rotating over here. We noticed that the Raw was kind of getting away, and we're just looking for him, seeing if we can get this kill, close out the game. Chernobog ults, gets down to the Raw, and then they're securing that while I'm trying to push up our wave all the way to the Phoenix to anticipate the ending of the game. Now here again, I rotate back, and I'm thinking maybe we're gonna get Fire Giant, but unfortunately Chernobog and Mulan are just farming in the jungle for some reason. Not really a big deal. Athena starts to call for the attack on Fire Giant, which is kind of what I was expecting, and I just finish up this camp, rotate over, and then we start to take the Fire Giant. I still want to emphasize, how tanky this build can be. So if your team is lacking a warrior, or maybe you're lacking a guardian, right? Maybe you're getting one of those trolly assassin support picks that are trying to just troll you out of the game. It's just kind of to show that there's multiple ways to build gods, that you can maybe support the team in a different way. Because like right here, I don't think I'm top mitigated, but I think I ended up being top damage taken overall, just because of all of the fights that were in. I was just multiple 3s in 4v1s in positions like that and just escaping. So it just really touches on how tanky it is, and I think this one's due to Lonos, because we have almost 100 of each protection, plus we have the Lonos, which is reducing the damage taken by 20%. I want to say thank you to all those who stuck to the end. I tried to post some clips where I had some pretty good kills, some pretty good battles, and some pretty good tankiness, so you could kind of see how well-rounded the build could be and how much damage it might be able to put out. So unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to give this a trash. The only reason why I say that is because I think you could do tanky Arachne better. If you watch any of my other videos, I generally go into boots and then hasting katana and then the shift shield. From there I can see if I'm tanky enough or if I'm not tanky enough, and I try to get something like a sustain item or tanky item. The thing that I think this lacks is flexibility, because you have too many item slots, and that's the reason why I'm going to give it a trash overall. If we had less items that we needed and we could still get the damage output, or maybe if it just had better stats, I could see playing it more and more. But as it stands, it's pretty mediocre, and I think that's all it boils down to. I mean, like, it's just mediocre. Like, it's not game winning. You're not carrying the whole game by yourself. Yes, you can fight multiple people at the same time, kind of like old school Gakolan, but it's not carrying games, and that's kind of what you need in the lower elos in order to climb out. Please tell me what you guys thought of the video. Comment down below any other builds you'd like to see. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate everyone for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.